welcome back to Dandor ASMR. I hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to this video. Today we're doing very up close whispers, finger flutters, mouth sounds, as well as a little story time about my grandmother who passed away and what kind of person she was to me. If that's not your cup of tea, I totally get it. Death sucks for anyone. It's just, a part of life that we have to deal with. But it does suck, and everybody grieves it differently. So I get it if this isn't a video you want to watch. My grandma was 89 years old. She lived a long, long life. She was very poor, and her dad was a coal miner, and the only thing she ever said about her mom was that she was a drunk. So, yeah, home life wasn't great. She grew up in and out of an orphanage, and eventually she aged out and she ended up getting married very young to my grandfather, who was not ever a part of my life, but he was my dad's dad. So my grandma was married 3 times. Once to him. Then when my dad was almost grown, she got divorced and married another man for a little bit, got divorced, and then married the man who was my grandfather, but we are of no blood relation. So anyway, growing up and going over there, my grandma was my grandma, and I had my mama and my papa, who are my mom's parents, until they both regrettably passed away back to back, 11 days apart. This was when I was 8. So I've lived a large portion of my life with only my grandma being alive. And I did not like my grandpa, but that's a whole other story, so I will really not be talking about him. But anyway, my grandma she was a fussy lady. My grandma was someone that I loved. I didn't always like her. She had just one of the most unique personalities, and it was wild because people were definitely drawn to her, but I think you almost could never quite tell how she was gonna be. I don't know. And in one way, in another way, she was super predictable, but that might have just been because she was my grandma. She had a lot of wild youth days, fights, just crazy stuff. And she was just a really, really interesting woman. So what I remember most about growing up with her was that she was super clean. She could not stand dirt. She could not stand little kids' handprints on her windows and doors, because I was always really scared she would yell at me when I was young. So I would make sure I never messed anything up at her house. And then she loved to shop, and she loved to take me shopping. She spoiled everyone around her. And she always said, because she was poor and didn't have anything growing up, that she wanted to have the best because she could afford it now. And she was always like so proud of that, and I think for a good reason, because her stories like about the orphanage and stuff are really sad. Like, they're not all bad, but obviously it wasn't like the greatest upbringing, and she had some like hellish stories about some foster parents. So my grandma like really made a name for herself, even through the cards that she was handed. So anyway, she would take me shopping a lot of times. I remember she would always pretty much buy my whole like new school clothes every year. We would go to movies at times. On the very rare occasions I would stay the night. I remember she would always make ice cream like from scratch with an ice cream machine. And it was always so good. And she had this big in-ground pool, so like if it was summertime, we would always swim all day. She would be blasting country music. I always watched the movie Fern Gully over there, like over and over and over. Also The Mummy, that one was another one that she just had them on VHS, and so I would sit there and play with them over and over again. Play them, not play with them. And like, I don't know, I loved it. I loved tanning over there, like as a teenager. I spent hours on hours with this woman in the pool. She was always tan, like a completely different skin tone than me. And she looked good. Like, she looked really good for her age. She was a super attractive woman. Like, always got hit on. Always, like, no one would believe us when we told them how old she was. And this would have been like when she was like in her like 60s and stuff. But even like at 89, I thought she looked pretty good. Sick, but good. So when I got a little older, we weren't as close. This is like the complicated part of my relationship with her, and obviously every one of my family members is going to feel a different way, but this is just my experience. I always felt like I had to let her know like a watered down version of myself. We didn't align on a lot of thoughts. She was very old school. She was very conservative, and that's just not my belief system. And you know, there would be like social issues that would crop up, and her and my grandpa would be talking about it, and it would like get me upset. And so, you know, I always felt like I had to kind of water myself down for her. And I often wondered if she would like me at all, if she like knew how I was. So I don't know, but I always tried to be there for her. And while my parents were caregiving, the last year I got closer with her than I've ever been in my adult life, because she was just always around, you know, like my dad always was with her, so we were either at her house or her at my parents' house or whatever. And I feel like even though she was slipping, it was nice to be able to spend that time with her and to know that she was with us and safe, and that we did what we could do for her. And I'm okay with that, you know, like I feel like I made my peace with how I felt with our relationship. And I think that could be said for multiple family members of mine. My mom and her were not always on speaking terms, you know, up until my grandpa died. you wonder why the universe puts you through things, or God, or whatever you want to put to it. And I'm not particularly religious, but my hairdresser is, and I was talking, this was actually the day my grandma passed. I had a hair appointment. I went to go see my grandma, and then I went to the hair appointment, and I was really upset. My grandma's condition had really worsened. She'd been put back in the hospital from a nursing home because she fell. And she was crooked in the bed, just moaning and groaning and agitated. It was just a sight that I don't think anyone should ever have to see their loved one be in. She was asking for her mom and dad, and I just knew, that wasn't good. And she had been in and out so much at this point that I was like praying for her to get peace. So I wasn't, upset or surprised that she passed, but it's just, we had thought she would pass and she hadn't so many times. So when she finally did, I was like, oh God, But seeing her like that in her last day, man, I mean, it's just not something I'm gonna forget. And I tried to make her comfortable, and I just touched her hair. I brushed her hair, and I just sat to try to go to sleep. I didn't know what else to say. I just told her it would be over. And anyway, so I went to my hair appointment. I've gotten off track here. My hairdresser said she's very religious. She's like, maybe, God, only God knows why he's keeping her here right now. And in the back of my head, I was always thinking, like, I think God is doing this for multiple reasons, for different people. But it was hard. It was still hard. I mean, it sucked. It sucked watching my parents go through it. It sucked watching it suck the life out of my dad. It sucks that my family sucks, and that, I have to watch the people who didn't come up here and didn't help, didn't fucking care while she was dying, come up and take all her shit. It's a lot, you guys. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle. And especially, I'm already like struggling with some other things. And I'm grieving so much, man. This time last year, my life was still a mess, but in a different way. And I don't know where I thought I was going, but I didn't think I'd be where I'm at right now. And I think that's both good and bad. But it's hard when you envision something for yourself and then it doesn't quite pan out for one reason or another. It's hard, it's an adjustment. And it's not to say that it's not the right path or not, but it's different, and you mourn what you thought your life would be, or at least I do, because I'm an emotional bitch. But I just feel as if my life is still not aligned in certain ways that I thought I would have aligned by now. It's very hard. And then to cope with losing a physical person on top of that. Someone who I was so used to seeing, so used to thinking about. It's been all I've thought about really for the last year or so. Life is just hard, you guys. It is. It sucks. You know, I'm trying hard to pour into myself and to do good to myself and do good by myself. And some days, it's just so fucking hard to. I want to. I'll tell you what I really want. If I could have anything right now, I would take my 10 favorite people and I would rent a big villa on the beach, and we would all have anything we ever wanted. Jet ski excursions, scuba diving, sitting your ass just on the beach all day. That's where I would be. Drinking. It'd be a good big dinner every night. You guys, that's what I want. There's some dog barking. I'm so sorry, guys. I just want to be with my people. I say that I've barely talked to anybody for weeks, but, you know, I just want to feel carefree. I don't feel carefree very often. And I felt some carefreeness last year that I would just love the bottle and drink it. And, you know, like the highest highs, the lowest lows type deals. And the past 6 months, this last year, has been a pretty consistent, like, baseline low for me. It's been hard. It's been so hard, you guys. Dealing with my grandpa's death at the end of the year, last year. Those last 3 months were really hard too. We're really pushing, you know, a year here. And God, I'm glad it's over. I want this chapter to end, and I want to open a whole new fucking book and a whole new fucking library. I have a lot of thoughts, clearly, but I don't know. I'm done for tonight, I think. Thanks for listening about my grandma and my little existential ramble. I'm just having a day, but I'm taking it one day at a time, and so should you. And if nobody has told you today, I love you. I'm proud of you. Keep going. You are loved. You are needed. Stay another day. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.